The forested, mountainous landscape of the elves' birthplace is steeped in equal parts history and lore, and a princess mage with an ancestral tie to the past make the narrative of the Five Kingdoms an intricate tapestry. Hi, I'm author Garrett K. Jones, and this week on Forming Fantasy, I'm discussing the Kingdom of Maíga and one of its chief residents, Princess Amara.
I try to make new content every week, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube.
Good morning. If you're anything like me, you're probably recovering from the epic of Avengers Endgame. So to help with that, I've decided which of the Five Kingdoms I'd be traveling to next for this month's segment. I figured I'd just go around the map, literally. Last month I discussed Mer de En, aka the First Kingdom, so I'm just going to go to the next one on the list. The Kingdom of Maíga, or the Second Kingdom as I originally dubbed it, is the ancient home of the elves, who migrated out of the north after they were created. The name of the kingdom actually started as a shorthand for the lands of magic, as the name itself is derived from the elf word for magic, and because when humans came to the continent from Ronso, a country across the sea, very few knew the mystic arts or ventured towards the elves' homeland. Maíga has several cities, but none are mapped out or as well known as the capital of La Sigra Dontonati. It is a beautiful city surrounded by a gargantuan forest whose trees make California redwoods look like midgets by comparison. The buildings aren't manufactured like the cities built by humans, but are instead hewn out of nature itself through the use of magic. The royal palace was formed from the side of a large set of mountains called the Great Chain that stretch across the northeast portion of the kingdom. And in these mountains live all manner of creature, including vampires, which we see at the start of the book series. We'll take a bite out of those guys in a later installment. This kingdom was based on time spent in northern Italy near Lago di Garda, which is up near the Italian Alps between Milan in the west and Venice in the east. In fact, much of the inspiration for the landscape came from studying the mountainous regions of Central Europe. So last month I shared the background on the character of Gavin. This month I'm focusing on Princess Amara because she's a main character from Maíga. The character was based on my friend Catherine, who was probably one of the most badass ladies I knew from my high school and early college days. I modeled Amara off of Kat because I liked that combination of black hair and hazel eyes. Initially, Amara started off with the name Sapphire on account of the color her magic channeled. That became her signature color, but I changed the name. And while my friend was the oldest of two sisters, Amara was written as the youngest of three, and she's set apart because her appearance matches an ancestor of hers instead of her sisters, who both have blonde hair and blue eyes like their mother. I also modeled some of Amara's intellect and bookworm nature off of my friend because it fits so well with the character, who is very studious as she trains to become a master-level mage. While Amara is a princess, she's far from being your typical damsel in distress. There are scenes in Book 1 where she is stuck in stressful situations where she's quite capable of defending herself. She pays attention to her magical and combat abilities. Again, this is taken from my friend Kat. Okay, so the story goes like this. The October after I returned from my year abroad in Japan, I went to go visit her for a weekend up in the Bay Area and bought her an early birthday present. I got her a pocket knife. Big mistake. A few weeks later, she was back in town and a guy who had been flirting shamelessly with her at her birthday party tried to cop a feel and found himself landing on his back with the blade of said knife about to flick open. So I vowed then and there that I wouldn't ever buy Kat another knife so long as I lived. But that strength and determination was something I had to instill in Amara as a character. And man, does she have some good fights. So Amara's story is very intertwined with Gavin's, in that they do fall in love with one another and are meant to be bonded for the rest of their lives in a way that is very poetic. Gavin's the dragon miss, and Amara's ancestor, Carmagan, was the unwitting pawn in the demise of the dragons in the prologue of the Heirs of Menonias. Amara's story arc allows her to achieve vindication for her ancestor in some major ways, but I won't spoil the book for you. So that's it for this month's edition of Forming Fantasy. Next week is Free Comic Book Day 2019, and I'll be at DJ's Collectibles. Pay attention to the promos for that. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GKJ_publishing and the hashtag 5Kingdoms. Support me on Patreon, where you can get 24 hours early access to the vlogs and other sweet perks for as little as $1 a month. And as always, like and subscribe on YouTube. And make sure to click the bell for alerts on new episodes. I'll be seeing you next week at Free Comic Book Day. Yeah!